what has been the reason for us always having financial issues, I mean with the athletes now, when it comes to competition? Now, it's not just football, not just athletics. It seems like one issue that's always surrounded Team Nigeria whenever they go for a competition.
I think is indiscipline and also trueness. Now, when I mean trueness, how true are you as an administrator to the players, to the athletes? Now, we should understand one thing, and probably it will help us going forward. The most important entity in all of this setup that we have are the gladiators, the players, the athletes, the sportsmen and women,
basketballers.
They are the most important. Whether you like it or not, you are nobody. Your office is nothing. Your title is nothing. Your post is nothing if you don't get to have athletes to work with. If you call me a coach today and I don't have any player, who am I coaching? If you call me the president of a club, the president of a sports setting, and I don't have any, whether athlete, player, whatever, in my phone, what am I administrating over? Simple thing we should understand. Reason why if you go to senior client, they've gotten to that point where the most things is given to the players, to the athletes for them to perform, because your performance is what the fans, the supporters want to buy into, which they call what they love, like the club or the country, the national team. And you're talking of souvenirs, you're talking going watching their games, which got to a point where administrators are not known, except for crucial issues that bring them to the fold. The first thing you will know is either the captain, the best player, the most outstanding player, and all of that. If you get to know all of that, you can now start who is the team or who is the coach that brought about setting these boys right. You now start to know the coach. Then you now go further to talking about who are the administrators. In the most case, you will know the president. You will know maybe the financial director. After that, you hardly know who is the vice president, who is the secretary. You don't need that. These are the things we should understand, that the players, the athletes are the most important. And by the time Nigeria gets to that point, for any sport at all here, maybe we'll start to do better. And for me, Solomon, I've always even had issue with the whole monetary incentives. It has become as archaic as possible. Yes, money can be there, but there are so many things. I call it over 2001 things that can, be appreciated more than giving money to the athletes for me.
Quickly, I come to John Ojen today now. The last Olympics, there were complaints. The home-based athletes didn't get as much as the foreign guys got. You were complaints.
Solomon, it's not just about what the home base or the foreign base are getting. You see, when you don't put things right, when you don't put structures, I've always.
But they are both competing in the same tournament, in the same championship. Exactly. Why give them separate denominations?
That's what I'm trying to say. If you don't put structures, I've always been an advocate of structural organization. In any go to any setting, if you are working in an organization and there is no proper structure, it will even affect your own aside your pay package. Even your mental health is also involved. See, the truth is this: have you asked yourself why some players have refused to play for this country? It is not about say, okay, I want to play for Nigeria. I'm a loyal Nigerian. It's not about that. It's not about patriotism. The pay package in England makes sense for players to say, if I can just have 10 caps, I'm good. A lot of players, for example, John Fashanu is still enjoying, they're enjoying the fact that he played for England, and what he's getting after his retirement, you really cannot imagine. So, for me, the most important thing is put structures in place for these athletes, such that when they go through these phases of development, it helps their career as well. And then again, if you have structure for athletes coming in abroad and local base, it will help, because the truth is this, that act of jealousy will still be there. And again, you really cannot blame those foreign athletes. The money they spend on training, is it easy for somebody to travel to all those countries with their money for their own personal training? So you really can be, but if the local athletes themselves can be developed right. You remember Adegoke at the last Olympics, that guy did all of his training here. And you will see at the world stage, he was getting closer. So for me, those two things, match them together, the right development that they need, instill it in them, in no matter of time, I think they'll get better.
Now, Kenny, let's talk solutions quickly. quickly. We have to start gradually. We know we're getting to the super athlete, but we have to start with the A-grade athlete, the A-grade, the under 17s, under 20s. How do we manage that and how do we support them before we get to the main athlete?
It starts from facility. Start proper facility building for every sport. I was talking to the president of squash and we're talking about how so many squash courts have been converted to something else. Go and check out handball courts everywhere. It has now become a mini five-a-side, court. For football, futsal thereabout. These are the problems. Every sport you're involved in should have proper conscious development every now and then. Solomon, by the time we get to that point where we understand everybody develops from having proper facilities, having proper equipment for their sport, then we'll start to rise to the next level. And then it starts very early. We keep coming here to mention names. There is Favour Philly that went to the WYC, talking about World Youth Championship. We're talking Uko. Uko has now been given admission at an American university. Just what she did at the World Youth Championship. These guys will coach you, get to help you develop, and then at a point they will come to you and ask, will you compete for the US? And then it takes patriotism for you to say, no, I want to do it for Mother Nation, or I just want to go ahead because you are assured of great things to come. I love what John mentioned about John Fashion and the like. All of these guys, for the little they've done for the nation, there is enumeration that will continue to be for you until your dying days. These are the things we don't have. Proper structure, but firstly, especially since we're talking about growth and grassroots, facilities, equipment for you to grow is very important. That is why some states are already taking offer. We're talking Lagos, I'm talking Delta, I'm talking Edo, and I'm also, just recently joining up with Bayelsa. I'm saying well done to these states.
Now, John Ojetunde, are you one for financial reward for underage competitors and athletes? I mean, the under 17s. Remember the last drama that we saw after the games that are in Nairobi, $5,000. They shouldn't be collecting it. Some will be holding it. Some. Are you in for financial reward for especially athletes under the age of 18?
Solomon, the present Nigerian situation demands that I am of the opinion.
But we're talking of athletes that are not in Nigeria. A lot of them are not based in Nigeria. Some of them, let me just say, some of them are not based in Nigeria.
I'm talking about the ones who are based here. You see, Solomon, you really cannot blame somebody. Of course, you know about the age that's going on. An athlete tells you he's 20, obviously he's probably 27 or 28. And that same athlete is the breadwinner of the family. And so you are telling him that, okay, don't worry, you are still very young, you don't need the money now. All you need is to develop, by the time you are probably 24, 25.
But ordinary, that's how it should be.
No, of course, like insane climbs. You see, I had a caveat saying insane climbs, that is the ideal. But in Nigeria here, because of our peculiarity, the situation we find ourselves, we've not developed to a point where, see, I keep talking about structure. If you have structures in place, all of these things, thank you, if you have a template in place such that by the time you are 70, even when you win those competitions at 70, there's something for you. You may not get it instantly. Maybe by the time you've grown to a point, then accumulated over time, then it can be paid into your account.
That is the actual point. How true are we?
So
exactly
what I get somewhere or kept from me to put into my development. So when you don't collect it, some persons or some people are already taking it and launching with your
so can you just imagine? I don't blame those athletes until we begin to change things administratively. Then you can be talking about players at a certain age, telling them that calm down, you will get, by the time you get to this age, something is already on ground for you. See, don't blame them. Let me quickly to football club. But there's a player in Barcelona currently. The guy is 18, Modiba. I can't.
He likes Modiba.
Yeah, Modiba. The guy is 18 and he's requesting for 80,000 pounds per week in Barcelona, and it was termed ridiculous. But again, would you blame the player if you look at his family background? Look at what the guy. No. So you put some of these things in place before you make claims to the fact that this player are still very young, they don't need the money. If you put things in place, definitely in no time, all of these things will come together. Then you cannot begin to talk about let us set aside so and so for athletes between the age range of 10 to 15, from 15 to 25. Then you can have different different packages for these people at starting. If you don't do that, Solomon, see, like there is no way an athlete will buy into the idea that you are still young, you don't need to be remunerated.
Before you leave that topic, I just want to add, some years ago, a certain young player that played for the Falconets, Courtney Dike came in, they won the competition, and they were supposed to get some amount, and Courtney refused to collect. Yeah. And a lot of Nigerians, you know how we do, we can talk, start to say she's forming because she's from US and she's feeling like the money is too small. And she had to give a press briefing. She said, the academy attached in the US, but not there is an agreement. Up until you are 20, you cannot collect monetary reward. And she said, I cannot jeopardize what the academy is to give to me for this money you have to pay me. So keep your money. Why did she do that? This academy has promised that there is no suffering for you.
Exactly.
This academy has promised that your growth will be in stages, and she has seen every stage, and it's been constant. This academy has explained to you that from here you're going to the next big thing, and everything has been happening. Now, why won't she trust such, where she has seen it happen to so many other people, and it is happening to her? Also, if there is any failure in agreement, she has the right to sue them to any level, and she will win. In here, you get to lose anything that belongs to you, nobody gets punished. You will be the one to bear the brunt, and you will suffer for it always.
That's why you see that the players fight tooth and nail
to get it now.
Get their money right away.
No, guys, let's end it quickly now. How do we properly reward our athletes, our elite athletes? How do we create a structure? What kind of a structure quickly do we have to do to reward them?
For me, there is no structure other than when we will get to the point where our administrators are truthful, where they are sincere. By the time we get to that point, that will be the biggest structural move that we make.
For me, one of the things the administrators can do is liaise with private organizations to adopt each athletes. Then through that, by the time they have private sponsorship, I think it will help a great deal. Even if the administrator gets to promise them maybe something minute, they know they will get money from private sponsorship.
That's how we drop anchor on this particular segment. I personally have learned a lot from these two guys. Big thank you to Kenny Idris for coming on the show.
It's good to be here, Solomon. I told you earlier, it's always nice to share studio with you guys.
Most definitely, and John Ojel today.
Yes, so excited to be here. Like I said from the start of the show, you really cannot wait to hear those topics, and when you get into them, it's more like a bomb.
Most definitely, it's been a bomb, and there's still more to come on Prime Sports. All you need is to stay tuned.